Welcome to Lawyers Who Lead. I'm your host, Sigal Barnes. As a reminder to all of our listeners, this week is a bunch of short-form interviews with leaders at the ABA Tech Show Conference in Chicago, Illinois. We'll be returning back to our original episode programming starting next week, but please enjoy these episodes. There's a ton of great insights. So without further ado, let's get back to our next guest.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Lawyers Who Lead, a podcast that challenges the notion that the law lags behind. I'm your host, Sigal Barnes. Each week, I invite a lawyer who's making powerful changes through extraordinary leadership. In each episode, we'll travel through another lawyer's life, identify what they do best, and then devise how to apply these concepts to your own world. So let's get to it. We have here with us Nicole Black, SME and External Education at MyCase, a legal practice management software. Nicole is a lawyer and nationally recognized author of Cloud Computing for Lawyers and co-author of both Social Media for Lawyers, The Next Frontier and Criminal Law in New York. She writes regular columns for Above the Law, ABA Journal, and The Daily Record, has authored hundreds of articles for other publications, and regularly speaks at conferences regarding the intersection of law and emerging technologies. She is an ABA legal rebel and is listed on the Fast Case 50 and ABA LTRC Women in Legal Tech. Let's get to our next Lawyer Who Leads, recorded live at the ABA Tech Show, coming up right now. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. Looking forward to it.
So first and foremost, I'd love to get into how did it all start for you? How did you get to your role today?
Well, I practiced law for a decade. I started in the public defenders, then I was in a civil litigation firm, and then I was of counsel to a DWI defense firm. And I was in between some of those roles when I decided to sort of hang a shingle and do contract work for other lawyers in about 2005. And I started blogging in conjunction with that. And I got to know all the people in the legal tech space at that point because not a lot of people were blogging. And I started to want to tell lawyers about blogging and then social media and then the cloud. And so I just ended up focusing on something that I thought was really pivotal, was helping lawyers understand tech. And so I started writing about it and speaking about it and ultimately became considered press. And so when I was at a conference covering Legal Week in 2012, I met the MyCase guys for the second time. And as a result of our conversations from that, the founder at the time offered me a job, and I was employee number one. And then 6 months later, they were acquired, and we've been through 2 other acquisitions since then. And now we're acquired by LawPay, Affinipay, LawPay's parent company, in June of last year. And so it's been really exciting ride to end up where we are.
Absolutely. Can you just share with our listeners, anyone that's not familiar, a little bit about MyCase and LawPay?
Yeah, LawPay, I was super excited when I found out that they were going to be acquired by them because they're really the most trusted payment processor in the legal space. They have been around for, I believe, more than 15 years, and they understand lawyers and their trust accounting issues and compliance with ethical issues. And so they've been a really well-respected company for a long time. And MyCase has been around for a little over a decade, and it's law practice management software for lawyers, from lead intake, payment processing, document management, invoicing, billing, client communication, client portal, just the vast array of everything you do on the back end to represent your client and run your law firm you can do with the LawPay and MyCase solutions.
That's awesome. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your role. You're the Senior Director, SME, and Education. I'm just super interested in that role. Can you tell me what that looks like for you?
Well, what I was hired to do is what I still continue to do, really, which is educate and connect lawyers with technology. That's always what I've done, and that was the intent, and I've always done that. So externally, I write and speak for the ABA Journal, Above the Law, The Daily Record, and I speak at conferences across the country, like I spoke at Tech Show, and I help lawyers understand how to use tech. And then internally, I'm the subject matter expert on lawyers and the legal industry. And so if people from different teams need to understand, is this the right phrasing, or how do lawyers use this feature, or how do criminal defense lawyers use this, they'll reach out to me to get a better understanding of that. And I also help with other issues that sort of require subject matter expertise. So for example, most recently, LawPay has a new product called Client Credit, which allows lawyers to connect their clients with a third-party lender who gives them a loan to pay the attorney's fees. So the attorneys get paid up front, and they don't have to worry about collecting from the clients, the lending company does that for them. But sometimes lawyers have questions about ethical issues that might be related to that. And so I wrote an ethics memo that would help the lawyers understand how it's been addressed and that it's been around a long time and that the bar associations have green-lighted this concept for a while. So I've helped write this memo that would inform our customers when they had questions about that.
That's fascinating, both from, the third-party lender perspective, but also I love that they have someone so valuable like you within the organization that's like
Thanks.
they're able to tap into such immense expertise, but then also that you're allowed to educate others and really bring an awareness of not only what your organization does, but like how you help others and why that's important. So I
Yeah.
think that's really, really cool. On the note of presenting and educating others, I'd love if you could just share some of the presentations and what you spoke about.
I had 3 presentations. The first was my case in Law Pays Lunch and Learn, which was focused on our legal industry report. That's another thing that I do is I oversee the production of the survey and then I write the report, and we've done that for 2 years. So I presented on the 2022 legal industry report and the findings. And then I also spoke about AI and how lawyers can use a broad overview of AI and artificial intelligence, including ChatGPT. But then I also gave them takeaway tips on how to automate their firm without using AI if they're not ready to dip their toes into AI. And then today I spoke with John Burnett about hybrid and remote firms and ethical and cybersecurity tips that they need to understand when they move their firms remote or work remotely, and how by using cloud technology and having the proper tools in place, they can build resiliency and that make sure that they can run their firm no matter what happens.
Amazing. I love how you not only are able to speak to all of these different subject areas, but you're able to partner with people that are really kind of leading the way and working with you side by side to really help educate others on what they're doing. That's so fantastic. So based on everything that you've done, based on your attending here, all of your experience speaking here, what's your biggest takeaway so far?
I think it's just great to have everybody back together. And last year, a lot of people were here, but everyone was concerned about their safety and about COVID still. And it's great just to have everyone here. And yesterday, the energy was great. ChatGPT has really been a cutting edge thing, and they were able to work that into the show, which has, I think, been super helpful for the attendees.
Yeah, I was actually really intrigued by how many, especially in the startup alley, are integrating ChatGPT and AI into the companies that they're creating in such innovative ways. I've really just found that fascinating.
I wrote my ABA journal column on ChatGPT last month, and I listed the companies that I was aware of that were incorporating somehow the GPT 3.5 into their platforms. And since that time, the numbers at least doubled, and it was only published a couple weeks ago
Wow.
in the legal tech space.
Right, right. So, final question. What does leadership in law or leadership in legal tech mean to you?
The key traits that I think that any leader are empathy and the ability to listen and understand and respond accordingly, and not just kind of lead without being thoughtful.
Yeah. And as someone who is very thoughtful and thinks very deeply about not only the industry and the landscape at large, but making sure that other people are educated, I think that's a really important part of leadership. And I think that coming from you, it means a lot. I really appreciate you being on the show. If anyone wanted to reach out and connect with you, what's the best way they can do that?
My email is niki.black@mycase.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn under Nicole Black. So definitely connect with me there.
I 100% would encourage anyone listening to follow her. She has so many great insights. Thank you so much, Nikki, for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Thank you, leaders and future leaders, for listening today. We have a new guest every week, so don't forget to join us next week. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe or follow us anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also follow @Lawyers Who Lead on social. Let's celebrate and continue to build a community of leaders in law together. Lawyers Who Lead is made possible by Lawline, the leading online platform for lawyers who want engaging, relevant CLE and professional growth content. For over 20 years, Lawline has helped hundreds of thousands of attorneys level up by providing award-winning courses in hard-to-find areas and high-demand fields. They have so many courses to choose from that are actually really interesting to listen to and watch. That's why Lawline's rated the highest in the industry with over 1,000 verified reviews on Trustpilot. Lawyers Who Lead listeners get $100 off Lawline's unlimited annual subscription, which means you can take as many courses as you want for a really good price. Just visit lawline.com/podcast to get the special offer. Check out Lawline for the best content for leaders and future leaders in legal.